Good evening from Hopestown, Florida, where all the residents are all good looking and the fish are all oversized. This is the sell your own product on Amazon, and my logo thing is not working tonight. Okay, wonderful. So let's get back over here and let's go to the uh, on the boat tonight. As you can see, my green screen is still there, and I told you I had trouble with this about a month ago and still haven't got straightened out. I need to call somebody that knows what they're talking about. There just aren't too many people to know about this XSplit, and so I don't know what I'm going to do, but I guess I shall have to spend some money and figure out, get somebody here that knows what they're talking about, because I can't get rid of the green screen. Can't get it. I played with the controls and everything like that, and no work. And I'm sure it's just something simple that I have done, and I don't know what it is. So it all happened when I told you I was forced to upgrade to what do you call it, 10, whatever this is. The operating system, Windows 10, I guess it was. I had 7, and I've been warned that if you upgrade to 10, that you're going to have problems with the XSplit. And like I say, I had no idea until I was forced into. I just woke up one morning, not turned on the computer, came to the computer, and it said that I was already upgraded, and that went through a whole bunch of stuff. And so as far as I'm concerned, they can take this 10. And well, I shouldn't say that, because I'll be honest with you, I do like a lot of the other features of the 10, but I don't like what it's doing for this. And so what can I say? I'm not going to go into all that tonight, and I got a heck of a storm outside, so it doesn't usually happen, but if I do, we do get shut off in that, and we don't come back. Why? You'll understand why. There was a heck of, and I got caught up in a heck of a storm this afternoon. I was out with picking up a product, and man, got into a heck of a storm and had a hard time getting back, and it was really, really, really coming down. So anyway, so much about me. Hope you're having a good week, a great week, as a matter of fact. Summer's here, and the living's easy, or supposed to be anyway. And so we'll see. Tonight we're going to talk about buying wholesale in China and shipping to Amazon. Or do we want to ship to Amazon anymore? Because that's the big thing. We do this program about once every not every 6 months. Why? Because a lot of people come in, they've got all these questions, they've heard all these wise tales about and bad reports about China and all this kind of stuff, and they've got all kind of questions. So we just kind of hope that we can do this. We can help you understand exactly what's going on and why you need this and why you need that. Like I say, you're welcome to email me, and I'll be glad to help you as much as I can. If I don't, I'll tell you about it, and we'll try to find somebody that can help you. So with that being said, just before we get into the program tonight, I'm going to go over here and just a little bit from our sponsor. Now, as you know, our sponsor is the course we put out. It's actually part course and part live, because well, the first thing you do when you sign up for my course, you're going to get my email address, and you're going to get my cell phone number, and you're welcome to text me, you're welcome to call me, whatever it is, and we're going to get to you, and we're going to help you out the best way we can. And whether that's every day or once a week, once a month, doesn't make any difference. Matter of fact, I've got some people in the course that have been there since the beginning, and man, I still talk to them a couple times a week or so, or and that's good. That's the way I want it. We become friends, and we bounce things over back and forth off each other, and we have a heck of a good time. So that's what the course is. The course is a lifetime course. Why? Because Amazon is changing. You're going to see some changes in the program tonight that Amazon is doing right now. We've been talking about it for 2-3 weeks, and they're going to get brutal. Amazon is changing. Amazon is a lot like if any of you guys were around when Google was just starting to flex its muscles, and they had the Panda update, and they had this and that. Well, Amazon is kind of doing the same thing. So all I can say is it's still the best deal around. So what can I say? So I say you take it, you go with the flow, you go with Amazon, and you'll be all right. If you want to go out and do it all yourself, then more power to you. But you're going to get crushed because Amazon is not playing games. Amazon wants to be the #1 retailer in the world. They're now the #1 retailer in the United States. They just took over from, I believe it was Macy's or something like that. They're powerful, guys. They're powerful. You've got Amazon USA with all the warehouses. They're putting 2 more warehouses in Wisconsin. Why? Because they're going to be into the position, probably by the end of this year or so, that they can service everybody in one day. In other words, if you put an order into Amazon by such and such a time, there's a good chance you can get it by that day, by the end of that day. So that's what they're aiming for. They want to be able to take care of you. They want you to get the best deal, and that's why they're kind of brutal on that. I've told you they're over in China recruiting Chinese manufacturers. There's still the stuff in there. Chinese manufacturers are, I won't say running in droves to do it because they don't understand it. As you understand, and we're going to get into this tonight, when you send a letter to one of these manufacturers in China, and you receive this back, you're not talking to the Chinese manufacturer. You're talking to the company interpreter, and there's nothing more than his or her job is to take these things, interpret them, let the buyer or whoever makes the decisions in that company know what's going on, and that's why you'll never get a firm decision from them. They've always got to check. They'll say they'll check and they'll get right back to you, and that's what their job is. So don't think when you get this thing back that you're getting it from the boss. You're not. You're getting it from it's the same reason that the boss over there doesn't learn English. It's the same reason you're not going out and learning Chinese. For one thing, it's really hard to do, and the other thing, you just don't have time. That time's got to worry about his plants, got to worry about his employees, worry about his production schedule and everything else. He doesn't have time to be learning English. In the same way, if you're doing what you should, you've got things going on, a lot of things, and you've got your family to take care of and everything else. You don't have the time to be learning Chinese, to buy from the Chinese. That's just not it. So you use this system they've got worked out, or you do something better and do the system that we're going to talk about later on. So with that being said, what we'll say, we're going to go to we're going to go over here, and we're going to find the PowerPoint for tonight, and it's getting your products from China to Amazon FBA. Now, what can I say? This is probably, if you're doing private label, it's almost unheard of anymore. And yet, well, let's put it this way. Whenever anybody talks about private label, they talk about it usually means that they're going to import their goods from China or Vietnam or some of those places over there, India, and they're going to import to the United States because why? The labor is cheaper over there and everything else. Sometimes the product is excellent, and sometimes they're pretty crappy. You just got to watch, I'm going to say that in all honesty. But like, again, we're giving you, I don't know if you can hear that storm is really bad out there. And so, like I say, if we get cut off, we get cut off. So we're going to go on, and we're going to talk about this tonight because it's really important. Like I say, there's some new things coming on. Amazon, on their long-term storage fee in it, have really made a change in the private label business. They probably hurt. I don't know if they hurt or they help, but they probably made a change that affects the private label sellers more than anybody else. It's just that simple. Wholesale, you don't have to send it. You're going to wholesale price, unless you do buy in super quantities and that, then you're going to have to go to a warehouse. So, so let's get into that without further. I don't want to, because I'm running into other stuff I'm going to talk about later here right now. So let's get started. It's getting your products from China to Amazon FBA. Well, so we're going to start out again like we usually do, is who can import goods? Who can import goods? This is important. An importer of record is required for merchandise entering the United States. The importer of record is responsible for ensuring the imported goods comply with local laws and regulation, filling a completed duty entry and associated documents, and paying the assessed import duties and other taxes on these goods. So that says a lot. That comes right from Amazon. So who can import goods? An importer of record is required, and that's all they can. So what does Amazon say? Amazon says, Amazon, including our fulfillment centers, will not act as an importer of record for any shipment of FBA inventory. This applies to shipments of any size or value, regardless of origin and product. Now, do you hear that? Amazon will not, let me say this one more time, will not be the importer of record. And then Amazon, I think it says in the next thing, Amazon will be, Amazon says Amazon will not, well, let's go. Amazon will not be responsible for or collect any duties, taxes, or shipping costs associated with the FBA inventory. All shipments are required to use delivered duty paid. In other words, everything's paid when it gets to Amazon, or sometimes referred to as free domicile shipping term. Any shipment arriving in an Amazon fulfillment center with collect charges, including any duties, taxes, or shipping costs, will be refused without further concession. Now I'm going to tell you, this is one of the reasons I strongly insist that you get a customs agent. We're going to have to get a customs agent to get your product through. Now, with that being said, FedEx and UPS are customs agents, but they're going to bill you, and they're not going to give you your goods unless you pay them. And that's the same way with here. You're not going to get through customs unless the goods are all paid for and everything. So, so Amazon says, so what will Amazon do? Amazon Fulfillment Center may be listed as the deliver to party on your shipping documents. Here are some examples of how this should appear on your shipping document. This is example 1, and this is, for example, Kansas City, I think it is. No, it looks like Kentucky. Example 1, Amazon.com, KYDC. Seller, that's your seller name. Mine would be Woodford's Cottage, care of FBA, 1850 Mercer Drive, Lexington, Kentucky, 40511, USA. So that's what's going to happen. That's what you're saying. So now you hear me talk about a customs broker. Customs brokers are private individuals or firms licensed by the U.S. Customs and Border Protection to prepare and file the necessary custom entries, arrange for the payment of duty owed, arrange for the release of goods from custody, and otherwise represent importers in customs matters. That's why when you get, and I think we get into this later on, when you sign up for a customs broker, you are going to have to give them a legal it's in other words, they can act in your behalf. You're going to have to give them legal authority to act in your behalf. I've got it down here farther. You're going to have to, because they have to represent you, they have to swear, and everything else. So they're going to get you. I mean, they're going to protect your good, and when you go through. And so that's one of the reasons I also suggest that before you get into a lot of negotiations on a lot of products and that, check with your customs broker to make sure that the product you're thinking about doesn't have any special duties on it, any special taxes. You know, there's nothing worse than getting your product to the United States, getting it go through customs, and the broker comes back and tells you, well, you know, you're going to owe another $5,000 in import duties, don't you? And you say, no. Why that? This is because there's on the product you picked out, there is a special duty, and this is what the import duties is going to cost you. See, if you would have talked to the customs broker or FedEx, anything like that, acting like that, and found out beforehand, you would have saved yourself a lot of time and a lot of toil, temperament. it's going to save a lot, because they're not playing, guys. They're not playing. They want what they got. It's their job to get it, and they're not going to let you slide and say, well, here, maybe you can go on in, and as you sell it, you can pay us something. Well, that's not going to happen. What's going to happen is you need to make sure that you've got all your check marks on the page clicked off, all your stuff in one basket, and give it to that customs broker, because he's acting as you. You're going to have to power attorney. That's what I want to say. You're going to have to give him power attorney, and he can act in your behalf when it comes to the customs agents. Now, I'm not trying to say that the customs agents are trying to rip you off. They're not. But I'm going to tell you what happens when they pass bills in Congress. I don't know if you've heard about it. They have a tendency to add on little tidbits, especially onto important bills they know that have to get passed. And so this congressman has got somebody in his district who sells shoes, or sells shoes, and that person doesn't want shoes coming from China without a duty on that. So this congressman sneaks on the back of a bill, a bill or a rule that's saying that sellers of XYZ style shoes are subject to a $2 a pair tariff. It goes through, and so all of a sudden the customs people have to enforce that. So here comes these shoes that's mentioned in the thing, the type of shoe. And so what it is, so the customs are going to charge a $2 a pair. So if you're talking about 1,000 pairs, that's $2,000. If you're talking about 10,000 pairs, that's $20,000. That's a lot of money, folks. But that can happen. I'm not saying that is on shoes now, for God's sakes, don't get me wrong. But I'm saying that can happen, all because of Congress. The way it's set up, it's well, basically, you know, I think they're just crooked. I'll be honest with you. I think there's too many vested interests in there, and I think it's really time in the United States we put on term limits and everything. And I'm not going to get into that, but I believe it is. That's just what happens. So we're going to go on here. Amazon recommended custom brokers. This is who Amazon recommend that you hire. You get, if you're going to send your stuff from China or Vietnam or India or wherever, and going to send it right straight to Amazon. Amazon recommended custom brokers. There's FedEx, there's UPS, and there's DHL. Now, those are mainly the brokers that you would use if you're going to send your stuff by airplane. You know, if you're going to come fast, and I don't recommend you come by airplane unless you've got a little tiny box that holds like 500 products and stuff like that. Then you can do it. But if you've got anything with any weight and any volume, you need to be using sea. You know, what are you talking about? You're talking about an extra 6 weeks wait time, and you'll cut your shipping cost by 2/3. You know, come on, it's a no-brainer. You know, and I used to chastise people right here about sending the product to their home. Well, now, and we're going to get into that just a little bit later. We're going to get into tonight. Amazon has changed this, and Amazon's not willing to be your warehouse anymore. Before, and I'd be first one to admit, I admitted all along, I used Amazon for a warehouse, and now they're not willing to do it. They're willing to let me use their warehouse, but they're also willing to let me pay for it. And before, I didn't have to pay for it. Before, I would get maybe say I'm selling this cutting board, for example, or something like that, or cutting board oil, and I would sell maybe 1,000, 1,500 a year on that. And so I would buy that many, because it would take that money to get a good price, and I would send them in. And what I do, I would send them all to Amazon, to the warehouse. Well, Amazon didn't charge me back then or anything else, so I got free use of the Amazon warehouse for a year and a half, whatever long it took to sell out what I'd ordered, and there was no problem. I wasn't sweating it, because Amazon didn't seem to care anything else. Anyway, about 2.5 years ago or so, Amazon decided they didn't want to do it, and so they've been chipping away and chipping it away. They've come out with long-term storage fees. They started that about a couple years ago. Then they started short-term storage fees, and now they've got this thing that's going to start. The storage fees are going to greatly increase. So, say the way I understand it, If you do like I used to do, say you're going to send 1,500 cutting boards into Amazon. Well, I would usually have them come like the 1st of November, somewhere around 1st to 15th of November, so they'd be there for Black Friday, because that's when the selling was. And so I'd bring them in. Amazon would sell it out, and so I would probably, out of that 1,500, I'd probably sell 600, maybe 700 cutting boards during the Q4, during the height of the Christmas season, and what they call Q4, which was great. But I would have 900, 800, 900, maybe 1,000 cutting boards left. Well, before I just left them in Amazon warehouse because there was no problem, and they would sell out gradually over the year. So the next year, about the same time, I would send that whole bunch back in again. So, but that's not going to happen anymore. I mean, it is going to happen, but you're going to pay for it, because Amazon, especially if you do that send them in over November and December, which is what myself and I think an awful lot of people did, then they're going to penalize you greatly. They're going to take that, and whatever is left after the 1st of the year, say January the 1st, they're going to sock it to you, my friend. They're going to sock it to you. That's why, as we recommend a couple of weeks ago, you need to take your warehouse to something else, someplace else. And I think last week, I think the name was, I didn't put the thing down this week, My Inventory Team, I guess, or something like that. For one thing, they're in Tennessee, which is right in the heart of the United States. And believe me, compared to a lot of the people, they're cheap. And why are they cheap? It's not because they got shoddy service or anything. Believe me, they got service that is second to none. But what makes them is their warehouse is out in the middle, out in the boonies in Tennessee. It's a humongous place, from what I understand. I've never seen it. This is just, I've seen pictures of it, and I've heard a lot, and people just talking about how big it is. They got this humongous warehouse out there, and you can imagine if that was in New York City or Chicago or some other big city area, it would, that thing would be, price would be astronomical. With being this in Tennessee, where it is out in the middle, in the boonies, like I say, it's not that much. And the delivery trucks deliver there just as well as they do in downtown Chicago or New York City or any place else. So that's one of the reasons they're cheap. So you need to take advantage of it. I think it's My Inventory Team. I believe that's it. I will put a link down below this broadcast for those that are looking afterwards. If you go to the website, privatelabelselling.com, and go look for this broadcast, which will be listed there tomorrow. And underneath that, I'll have the My Inventory Team link, or any other link that I mentioned tonight will be under the video. So with that being said, let's go on. So those are now Amazon Custom Brokers. Okay, we're going to get now Expeditors International and Samuel Shapiro are the two they recommend for by sea. If you're going to send your product by sea, that's who they recommend. I'm going to recommend somebody else here, a little bit different, but I'll tell you right now, I don't know, I'll be honest with you, I don't know, I have never used Expediter, but I've used Samuel Shapiro quite a little bit. Samuel Shapiro is an, especially if you're, what I want to say here, one of the things I think right now that it's really kind of important, Samuel Shapiro does things a little bit different. They bring the stuff by boat, they load it onto a how do I say this? They load it onto a train, and it's locked by the customs department. And it actually, the product is brought to Atlanta. The product does not actually go through customs until it's received in Atlanta. Then it goes through. What makes that nice is that Atlanta is fairly close to being right in the middle of the country. They're not very far from Tennessee or something like that. So your shipping costs, at least to the Tennessee warehouse, are not going to be that much. When you list your product or tell Amazon you bring it, they usually send you to 3 different places. One that's usually right close to you, one on the East Coast, and one on the West Coast. So right there in Tennessee, you're going to be right about in the middle. So to me, that's kind of a win-win situation. But that's what using Samuel Shapiro. I don't think Expeditors does that. And the one I'm going to talk to you about later on, I don't think they do that, but just as an extra thought. And I thought of it, and that's kind of a neat deal. But we suggest you contact your freight forwarder or courier in advance of shipping in order to understand their fees and requirements. Yeah, I do too. That's what Amazon says. They want you to know upfront. They don't want you to get your product to Amazon's gates and find out the fees are not paid for and they're not going to take over. And remember we told you before, on the paperwork, it's got to be done right, guys. So that's the reason. Samuel Shapiro, and that's one I've got. FBA, that's their thing right there. FBA Advantage at Shapiro.com. What you will need. Now, if you're going to sign up with an account with Shapiro, and I suppose it's the same with almost any custom broker, you're going to need an account with Shapiro. You're going to need, they're going to have power of attorney. You're going to have to accept the terms and conditions, and you're going to have a customs bond. It's an Amazon required. It's the United States government required. That bond is well, I haven't checked it this year, or I haven't paid mine. It's not due for a while, but it's been going up a little bit every year, so it might be close to $700 now. Last year was $625. And that bond, I'm going to tell you what, it takes 2 to 3 weeks to get, because it's not so you can just run right over and pay it and get it. You got to, it's sent to the government. Government checks you out and all that kind of stuff, and issues the bond to you. Then you can do it. So with that being said, you need to make time ahead of time. Don't wait until you've got your product ordered and they tell you, say, oh yeah, your product's ready to ship, and you haven't done any of this stuff, because you're going to be SOL. You know, you need to be prepared. So what can I tell you? So we're going to go on. Yeah, okay, we got back. Here's what Shapiro's going to do for that money. As far as that goes, any of these other companies are too. So arrange for cargo pickup and finalize arrangement. In other words, your manufacturer in China sends you an email and says, hey, Terry, your order is ready. We can ship now. And so you say, great. You call your customs broker and you arrange for them to pick up the cargo, because you're either going to get the cargo FOB their dock or FOB the port you're sailing out. That's how they're going to sell it to you. You're over in China. They're going to sell it one of the two ways. Neither one's right or wrong. It's just the way they do, and it's better off if you get it, I think, maybe to the port, but not necessarily, because Amazon, Shapiro or whoever you're using, Great Western or anything, will make sure they get it. But they're going to arrange for the cargo pickup and finalize arrangement. They're going to obtain the bill of lading. They're going to process. The bill of lading is the bill that says the product is paid for and that you own it. Process the importer security filing, and that once cargo is collected, they will reweigh and remeasure. They want everything to be right, so you can go and you're going to sail right through customs. That's what their job is, and to make sure everything's right. Shapiro will make every attempt to pre-clear entry with customs. In other words, they're going to, as it's out in the boat, you've got 30 days there, and like I say, 2 days out, 3 days out, you're going to have to pay your bill in full, and it's got to be there, and you're going to get your clear title and everything like that, and that's when the Shapiro are going to go, and they're going to go to customs and say, here's the bills, everything, it's all paid for, here's what they paid for, we'd like to pre-clear entry with customs, and sometimes they'll let you, sometimes they don't. Once cleared, U.S. Customs will arrange delivery to designated Amazon fulfillment centers. They'll also arrange delivery to your house, to your warehouse, or to Amazon fulfillment place, any place you want. That's what their job is, and that's what they do. Now, with that being said, there's a couple other ways you can do it. You can do it everything yourself, if you want to. And if you do everything yourself, you're in control way. You give manufacturers the pallet instructions from Amazon, also the label PDF, arranged with and you hope they put them on right. And I'm not saying that's the thing, because I've heard some horror stories here lately that hasn't been done right, and Amazon refuses it. I mean, if you get your product all the way from China to the Amazon fulfillment center, let's say down here in Florida, you get one down here in Florida, and then they say, hey, this is not right, you've got to take it back. So where are you going to take it? You're going to take it back to China? You know, what can I tell you? You arrange with local forwarders, ship to states. You can find, there's all kind of forwarders over there in China that would love the business. I'll bet at least 2 to 3 every month from local forwarders over in China. Says, Terry, we know you teach a class on that. Would you please recommend us, or we'd be glad to help your people go through and get their products to the United States. Well, they never mention that they can't take them through customs or anything else. But with doing that, you can arrange with that forwarder. He's going to forward them to the United States, and then sometime before they go through customs, he's going to have to transfer that thing over to your customs agent, and you can do that. The customs agent will take charge or take authority over the product while it's still in the boat, and then they will make sure it goes through the customs, and gets okayed and everything like that. Now, this is a lot more complicated way, and it's not going to happen as fast because you're changing things there. If you got it out when you got 30 days out in the sea and it's all done and all taken care of, all the invoices are checked and everything, and so everything is ready there, stamp it and give it to the customs agent. They can go through it 1, 2, 3, click it off and okay it. But if you do it at the last minute, then you're trying to push everything together and all that. And you know what I'm talking about. It's not that right. So you have a used broker shipped to designated fulfillment center. Amazon shipping guides must be used. Yeah, and that's right. Amazon shipping guides. Amazon, like I say, doesn't play any game. You get stuff to Amazon, and it's not the way Amazon wants it, they're going to refuse it. So what can I say? What can I say? All right. Okay, safe, worry-free way. Source your product for best price. Inspect your product before shipment. Arrange for shipping customs and finalize delivery of your product. Your product arrives at FBA or wherever you specify. Okay, that's the safe, worry way. How? By, yeah, I'm sorry. Like I said, we're gonna go safe, worry-free way. Yes, source your products for the best price, and the safe, worry-free way is what I'm talking about. Is using a company called Import Dojo. Now, I'm supposed to have another file, and like I say, I got caught today, and I didn't realize it didn't get put in there, so it's my fault, but we can go through it. There's a new company, it's been in business about maybe a year and a half now, called Import Dojo. They started this company, but they've been doing this for over 10 years. They used to be one of the major sourcers for Walmart. They've done some sourcing for Amazon and a lot of the other major companies. It was they live in China, they work in China, they speak Chinese, which is a heck of an advantage over there because these people, Import Dojo, can go right to the manufacturer. There's a good chance they know them because they've been there that long. And a lot of the major manufacturers in China, they know by person. They know about their families. They know what's going on and everything else, so they can walk up, they can talk to them, they can get you a good price. So they source your product for the best price. They inspect your product before shipment. I heard just this last week about somebody that had ordered 1,000 people. 1,000 piece order from this company. He thought were reliable and everything like that, and they'd sent him a really great looking sample. He looked at it, tested that. It was strength and everything, and was really good. And then when his product got to Amazon, it was not anywhere near the quality of the sample. Well, that's one of the nice things, because Import Dojo can and they will inspect your product before it's shipped from China. What you have to do is you have to send them the sample you got, the sample that you know is right. or anything else, and specify to them what it is, and they're going to check. And before it's shipped, before you pay for it or anything else, they're going to check to make sure that product is the product you want. And then once they do that, then they're going to arrange for shipping, customs, and final delivery of your product. And so then your product arrives at FBA or wherever you specify. Now, that's the safe, worry-free way. Is it going to be more expensive than you doing it all individual steps and worrying about it and taking Tums and all that kind of stuff? Yeah, it's going to be more expensive. I don't think it's going to be more than, I'm not going to specify here, because somebody, as soon as I say it's going to be $400 or $500 a product more expensive, sure enough, then somebody's got some kind of a product and they found out, oh, it's $1,000 more, or it's $300 more, and they're going to keep it. So I'm not going to say here, but I'm going to tell you right now that it's worth you checking out. It'll save you time. It'll save you headache. It'll save you heartburn. It will save you just so much problem. It's like dotting your I's and crossing your T's to the ultimate. You know, so what can I say? Now, right there, it's Import Dojo is who I'm talking about. There's the article on private label selling count. That's the page to go look and I talk about a little bit more and thing, but it's not very long. We're in different places you can check out on all that, and I just invite you to do it. I think it'd be one of the most well, I think it'd be a stress reliever. I think it'd be a calmer. I think your spouse would appreciate it. Instead of you worrying about that product out in the sea and all that, what's going on, and oh, you might having trouble. I'm getting a notice there from my CPU usage. The storm's going on. So, like I say, if it gets shut off, don't worry about it. At this point here, if we do get shut off, I probably will not come back on, because I'm done as far as the PowerPoint is. We just not too much more to say. It's really, like I say, it's really bad outside, so I might just cut this short tonight. I don't want to get into a bunch of questions and then have to lose them, because it's really, like I say, I went through it this afternoon. It was a really bad storm, and I don't know what we've got going out there. My wife she's out here behind me. She could probably tell you, but I don't have the slightest idea. Something's going on. It's I don't know. It's the funky monkey or something. I don't know. Anyway. That's what I wanted to talk to you about tonight. Like I say, Import Dojo. It all depends on what you want. You know, I learned the hard way, because you know when I first started this, there was none of the things. There was none of the AMZ tracker. There wasn't Jungle Scout. My gosh, there wasn't any of that thing that we did. And I started out and I learned the hard way. And I phone calls to China and Skype to China and all that, and getting my product here and learning that you got to pay for it a couple of days out and all that. It was all new to me. I didn't know anything like that. Just like a lot of you probably are, something like that. Is it hard work? No, it's not hard work. It is detailed work. And one of those things that I'm not really, I guess, good at. I guess I shouldn't say that. I guess I am good at, because I've done it and everything like that. But it's not the sort of thing that I want to do. I would much rather be finding new products, sourcing new products, and all that, and let somebody else worry about the particulars of getting them here, getting them there, and everything else. I can go to the point where I can get the sample, find out the sample I want, and say, hey man, this is great. Send that to Import Dojo. This is the sample. This is what we're paying for. Make sure that everything's like that, and I don't have to worry about it. They just come and they take care of me. What can I tell you? They take care of my business. And I can go on and do the stuff I like to do. So with that being said, wow, I don't know if you can hear the thunder or not coming through, so I'm sure you can probably hear it. It's getting worse, so I don't know, it's almost 1:22. we might just shut off here in a minute, because I don't think it's going to get any better. I think it's getting worse. And so what can I say? If there's any questions, I'll be glad to take questions. We don't have a lot of viewers tonight. For one thing, I sent a notice out this afternoon and didn't send a notice out on purpose tonight. I just wanted to see if it made any difference in the number of viewers in that, because I've been talking about switching the times from Thursday night to maybe Thursday afternoon or something else. Of course, Thursday afternoon wouldn't have worked out this week because, like I said, we went through quite an ordeal this afternoon, getting stuff, some product in and all that. So with that being said, I don't see any questions coming up. We got the open right there. So that being said, I'm not going to wait, because like I say, the storm's getting bad. I think we're going to get shut off anyway. So with that being said, I think I'm going to stop the broadcast. I'm going to say I shall see you next week, and you have a good time, because I enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it, because this is important. And there's just a few things about those long-term storage fees and that. We don't know the full thing. Amazon has sent out some directives. I know they're going to be massive and all that, and so I'm going to dig into a little bit further. Hopefully in a couple of weeks we'll just tell you exactly how much and all that, but for right now we're not going to go into that because we don't have enough time to finish that out. We will later on. We'll do another broadcast on it. But with that being said, we appreciate you. I thank you for coming tonight. I look forward to seeing you next week. So we're going to stop the broadcast.